Alright guys, so the Christmas event in Murder Mystery 2 has been out for quite some time now, and in this event we actually got a brand new EVO knife, which was honestly quite the surprise to me. I did not expect to get another EVO knife in Murder Mystery 2. Anyway, I made a video about that EVO knife going through all the tiers, so be sure to check out that video if you haven't done so. But yeah guys, this is our second event in Murder Mystery 2 with an EVO knife. The last one was in 2021 with the Halloween event. So it's been over a year since our first EVO knife, and this is our second EVO knife to get into the game. So at this point, I think I have a pretty good opinion on how I feel about EVO knives. Obviously, this was a big talk during the Halloween 21 event, but I felt like it was a little too early to come up with an opinion. But with this new Christmas event, I feel like I have an opinion on EVO knives. So yeah, in this video, we're gonna take a dive into EVO knives and how I feel about them, because I feel like there is some really good and bad stuff that comes from EVO knives. So I'm just gonna give my overall opinion on EVO knives and how they can be improved for future events. If you have not yet, be sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe for more Murder Mystery 2 videos in the future. And without further ado, let's get into it. So as you guys probably already know, the EVO knife is basically a replacement for the shop godly for this event. And what you do is you spend some Robux on getting the EVO knife, and it starts off as a rare, but as you equip the knife and you gain XP with it, it will eventually level up into a legendary and then a godly, and eventually it'll become an ancient. The EVO knife is only on sale during the Christmas event, but once you buy it, you can evolve it for as long as you want. So yeah, like I said, I think there are some pros and cons to EVO knives. So firstly, let's go over the good things that come from EVO knives. First of all, I think the overall concept of evolving a knife is honestly really cool. You know, using a knife and eventually evolving it into a better version of itself. That's honestly a really cool concept just by itself. But what's really cool about the EVO knife is that it gives people a reason to grind experience points, especially during events like this. Now for this point, I'm really gonna have to explain how XP is gained and how it contributes to the game. So as you guys probably already know, when you enter a round of Murder Mystery 2, there are a bunch of coins around the map, and the only way to get those coins is to walk up to them and collect them. So you have to go around the map collecting coins, and experience, or XP on the other hand, is gained by completing certain tasks throughout the round depending on your specific role. So if you're innocent, you just need to survive and collect a lot of coins. You'll actually get an XP bonus if you get a lot of coins. If you're the sheriff, you want to save as many innocents as possible, and if you're a murderer, you want to kill as many people as possible. And that's all fine and dandy, but the thing is, most of the time in Murder Mystery 2, XP doesn't really do anything at all. The only thing that XP does is, well, it levels you up, so you eventually level up to level 100, and then you can eventually prestige up to prestige 10, so the max level is prestige 10 level 100. And of course, it takes a very long time to get to that max level, but once you finally reach it, well, XP becomes completely and utterly useless. Once you're max level, you still gain XP, but you can't level up anymore, so really, what does it do? And even if you're not at the max level, when you think about it, what does XP do? Even if you're not max level, because leveling up doesn't do anything at all. Prestiging and leveling up is sort of just a flex thing so that you can flex on your friends who might be a lower level than you, but even then, leveling up doesn't really do anything. It doesn't affect the game at all. You don't get any rewards for leveling up. So when you think about it, what is really the point of getting XP? And then if we take this one step forward and we realize that killing people as the murderer only gives you XP and not coins, what is the point of killing as the murderer? Killing as the murderer only gives you XP, which lets you level up, which doesn't do anything, and you won't even level up if you're max level. Therefore, the most profitable thing to do would just be to not kill as the murderer and to just keep collecting coins until you have a full bag, and then you can use those coins on opening boxes to get some new knives and stuff, which are tradable. You gain more value out of your inventory. You just profit more by not killing and getting coins instead. And this becomes an even greater problem during events, because during events we have special currency like candies and snow tokens, and well, we need that special currency to open up the special event box or to finish the battle pass. And people are gonna really want to grind for those because they're limited time. So obviously they're gonna focus more on getting that special currency, you know, getting snow tokens, than they are killing people. And this sort of just leaves us in a situation where most of the time the murderer is just not gonna kill. And EVO knives completely solve this problem because it gives people a reason to grind for XP. The only way to evolve your knife is to gain experience with it. And killing people as the murderer is the best way to gain experience points. So naturally, once someone becomes a murderer, they're gonna want to take that opportunity to grab as much XP as possible. So it sort of gives players a choice. You know, yes, they can use their opportunity as a murderer to just peacefully collect snow tokens or candies, or they can take the opportunity to kill some people and get some XP to work toward their EVO knife. So that really encourages players to actually play the game that it's meant to be played instead of just turning it into a coin collecting simulator. Another good thing about EVO knives is that you can keep grinding your EVO knife after the event. So yes, it's definitely a long grind to get your knife up to an ancient form, but even after an event ends, you can still work toward grinding that knife. Some of you may have not even finished grinding your Revo EVO from Halloween 2021. Some of you guys might have bought that but still haven't gone into the ancient form. Well, no worries, there's no rush. You can still grind that into an ancient whenever you want. Another thing about EVO knives is they are not tradable, which is definitely a downside, but some people do actually see it as a positive. As soon as you buy an EVO knife, it is basically just tied to your account. You cannot trade it no matter what, so once you buy it, it's basically yours forever, and it's basically impossible to get rid of. So yeah, once you have an EVO knife in your inventory, you cannot lose it unless you completely lose access to your account. But let's say something happens and you get scammed and you lose a lot of your inventory. Well, you still got your EVO. Or if your account gets hijacked, you know, as long as you can recover that account at some point, you'll still have that EVO in your inventory, even if the hacker traded away all your other knives. And eventually later down the line, this EVO knife can sort of prove that you're an OG player. Years down the line, your EVO knife could basically tell you, hey, I was here for this old event that happened many years ago. So yes, there are some benefits to this knife not being tradable. I personally feel like there's more downsides to it, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So yeah, there's definitely some good stuff to come from EVO knives. It's overall a really nice concept, and it encourages people to get experience, which is a pretty big problem in Murder Mystery 2, just in general. It's a problem that EVO knives actually completely fix. Unfortunately, I feel like with the current system of EVO knives, there's quite a few downsides. So let's go over the big downsides for EVO knives. And I've definitely made this clear in the EVO knife video, but I think the biggest problem with EVO knives are the fact that, well, you have to pay Robux just to get started. Like I said earlier, these EVO knives basically replace the shop godlies for that event. And the only way to actually get the EVO knife in the first place is to buy it for 1,700 Robux, which is actually the same price as just a normal shop godly. So you have to pay the same price as a normal shop godly, and then you have to do a really long and rigorous grind. It requires so much experience to get a knife from its rare form to its ancient form. You need over 800,000 experience points. Needless to say, this grind is going to take hours upon hours to complete. It's gonna take a really long time, even if you have the Elite Game Pass, which, in case you guys do not know, the Elite Game Pass gives you a bit more experience. It still takes a super long time, and I couldn't even begin to imagine how long it would take if you don't have Elite. Now, having this super long grind isn't really a problem by itself. Just on paper, having a super long grind for an ancient, really not a problem. The only thing is, this super long grind is locked behind a paywall. I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me that you have to pay so much and then you have to grind for hours upon hours, and then after it's all said and done and you finally get it up to an ancient form, the knife is still not even tradable, so technically that ancient doesn't have any value to it. In the trading community, you cannot really give a value to something that is not tradable. Yes, you could potentially just trade away your own account, but that's more of a black market deal, which I'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, EVO knives are just a terrible deal compared to your normal shop godly. With a shop godly, you pay the exact same price and, well, you just immediately get the godly. It's in your inventory, you don't have to grind for it, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can hold on to it, let it increase in value, or you can trade it off for some other godlies that you might want. You can trade it away. Granted, shop godlies aren't typically valuable because you just buy them and you don't really need any luck or skill involved, but even so, it's more valuable than an EVO knife because it's actually tradable. And even so, it's still just instant value that's pretty easy to get. It's not a lot of value, but it's better than nothing. But yeah, in general, I feel like microtransactions in Roblox games are really just meant to make you save time. Like most simulator games, you can buy something that gives you like a massive boost in like coins or something, and that way you can grind that simulator game a lot quicker and easier. And this typically applies in Murder Mystery 2. Events have very long battle passes that you have to grind for, but you can pay money to buy tokens just to instantly go through the whole thing. You can buy gems to unbox a lot of boxes, which might not guarantee a godly, but it's definitely going to increase your chances compared to people who are just playing for free. And of course, the shop godly. You can just pay money and you instantly have a godly. It sort of makes sense that these things are behind paywalls. That's what microtransactions are for. They make you save time. And then you have the EVO knife, which is a massive grind that is locked behind a microtransaction. It just doesn't make much sense. And the grind is mandatory. You can't even pay Robux to skip tiers or anything. And then of course, this encourages you to spend even more money to pay for Elite if you don't have it yet, just to make the grind a little bit faster, but not really. It's still gonna take probably weeks. But yeah, shop godlies are just overall a much better deal compared to an EVO knife. You should really only buy an EVO knife if you really like the ancient that comes from it or any other knife that comes from it, and you're willing to put in both the time and the money in order to grind for it. And of course, this long grind is going to lead to some other issues in Murder Mystery 2, things such as teaming and AFK botting. And most of these will be just inevitable issues from EVO knives, but they're definitely expedited when you realize that they're locked behind paywalls. People are definitely going to go to a lot more extremes to make sure that they're getting their money's worth. And the fact that the EVO knives aren't even tradable is definitely going to lead to a lot more account selling, including a lot of people AFK botting on an alternate account and then selling off that account and then rinse and repeat. It's not a big problem yet, but it definitely has a lot of potential to be one. AFK botting isn't a terrible thing on paper, especially during events where people just want to get coins, but it could lead to the game getting stale where the murderers just AFK more often than not, which would ironically make the game even more of a coin collecting simulator than it was before. So yeah, those are the big problems with EVO knives. The question is, how do we fix these problems? Because like I said, I definitely like the concept of EVO knives. I don't think they should go away altogether. I just think they should really be changed. So I've got a couple solutions. I have a simple solution followed by a more complex but more effective one. So overall, I'd say the simplest, most bare minimum thing that Nicholas could do to make EVO knives better is to just, well, make them cheaper. Like I said, currently EVO knives are the same price as shop godlies, which is kind of ridiculous. Shop godlies are way better by comparison. But if Nicholas decreases the price of EVO knives, say he cuts it in half, maybe to like 800 Robux, then overall it'd probably be a much better deal. I mean, yes, there is still sort of a paywall, but it's a much smaller paywall, so it sort of balances out with shop godlies. You have to pay less, but you'll still have to grind a little bit in order to really get a godly or an ancient out of it. So that sort of balances itself with the normal shop godlies. I guess by that logic, another solution would be to increase the price of shop godlies, but ooh, maybe don't do that. Please don't do that. But another solution, and I feel like this is the better one, is just to rework how EVOs work overall. Here's how I feel like EVOs should work. Rather than locking them behind a paywall, you should be able to buy an EVO through normal means. Maybe through a battle pass. I think that'd be really cool. or just some way to buy it with tokens or candies instead of just buying it with Robux. I think with how big of a grind the EVO knife is, it should at least be accessible to everyone who is playing it for free. And that'll definitely encourage a lot more people to play Murder Mystery 2 besides people who just happen to have the money to pay for it. And obviously because it's free, you could make the grind bigger. It could be more than 800,000 XP. It could be like 2 million. So yeah, you have to grind it to get the first tier of the EVO knife, and then you have to gain XP to evolve it. But what if you could pay Robux to make the evolution faster? You could pay Robux to potentially skip an evolution. You know, let's say, you know, you grinded for the EVO knife, you bought it, and then you grinded it up to its legendary form and then its godly form. But ooh, the evolution from godly to ancient is just such a long grind, and you don't want to grind that much. Well, no worries. You could pay Robux to grind it from godly to ancient. And you can do that for the entire EVO knife if you want to. You could pay a bit of Robux to evolve it from rare to legendary, and then legendary to godly, and you can just keep doing that if you wanted to just immediately get each tier without grinding. I feel like that's sort of the best compromise for everyone, because you still have the concept of an EVO knife, and you know, you're making it more accessible to all players. But if you really don't want to do that tedious grind, then no problem, you can just pay Robux. Now I know what you're probably thinking, no data, Nicholas will never do that. Nicholas likes money. That's not as profitable as the way that EVO knives currently are. And well, the solution to that is to add a shop godly. I really don't think EVO knives should replace shop godlies. The EVO knife should be something else entirely, and then you can also have a shop godly with it. Because I can almost guarantee you that shop godlies are way more profitable than EVO knives. I could be wrong about that, of course. This point is mostly just speculation, but again, for the reasons I listed, I feel like shop godlies are a much better deal. So again, I don't really have the sale numbers on me, so I could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident that shop godlies are more profitable than EVO knives. So, you know, just put a shop godly in, have the option to buy an EVO knife with tokens, and then if you want to evolve it quickly, you can spend Robux. And then, of course, bonus points if the EVO knife becomes tradable. That'd be really cool. But of course, there are some benefits for it not being tradable, and again, it's not behind a paywall, so not as big of a deal. But yeah, that's just sort of my take on EVO knives. I felt like it was more fitting to make a whole separate video on how I feel about EVO knives and how the system works. But let me know what you guys think. How do you feel about EVO knives? Do you want to see more of them? And do you think they should change? If you have any other ideas, let me know down in the comments. Let's get a discussion going. Let me know how you guys feel about EVO knives. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Roblox Murder Mystery 2. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all those other things that YouTube people do. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay purple.